When it comes to playoff hockey, we are talking about a completely different beast. Defensive scheming and focus exponentially increases. Physicality sees a massive jump.
Bang! Look at that good hit right there, shoulder to shoulder, knocks Yossi down.
Emotion and passion goes to another level. It's why playoff hockey is some of the greatest sporting entertainment you will ever see.
Bobrovsky dives to his right with a robbery! Took one away from Dumba!
Playoff hockey just hits different. For example, in the regular season, the Canucks and Predators would match up 3 times with the exact same teams, where they would average 51 hits and 24 blocked shots. In the playoffs, we have seen an average of 70 hits and 32 blocked shots. So we would see a 37% increase in hits and a 33% increase in blocked shots. Every pass is finished with a hit.
Underway.
There is a body in the lane of every point shot.
Here's McCann, and he couldn't get it past Fabry.
As Rick Tocchet would summarize it to a T, if you want to win, you have to embrace the pain. Because of this, I've been constantly hearing the sentiment that Quinn Hughes just won't cut it. He's a 5'10" undersized defenseman. How could a team possibly win a Stanley Cup with him as their #1 defenseman? And I'm not gonna lie, it's a fair argument. If we look back at basically every Stanley Cup win in the Cap era, teams have not only had an elite #1 defenseman, but that player has size, hits, and block shots. Therefore, a championship under Quinn Hughes just isn't possible. But is it even true? On this play, we see a standard breakout from Quinn Hughes. He holds onto the puck, draws in the Predators, and passes the puck for a clean breakout. Yet, this whole time, Nashville did not care about defending a breakout. They were focused on finishing a hit on Quinn Hughes, and this exact play has happened in every single playoff game. They know he's undersized, so a part of their team strategy is to relentlessly lay the body on him, in hopes by game 5-6, Quinn Hughes will be worn out. And I'm not gonna lie, we have been seeing a different version of Quinn Hughes. Even though my man could run a masterclass on how to spin out of hits, if he wants to make the right play every time, he will have to take a beating, which he has. However, this is where roster construction can compensate. Just like how the Avalanche could win a Stanley Cup with average goalies. Just like how Vegas won a cup without a 100-point player. If a team's GM is aware of any potential weaknesses, their roster construction can compensate. As the Avs play high-end defense and offense, and their stars always show up.
Powering through the speed burst. One stick alley. My goodness, what a goal from Nathan McKinnon!
Which is compensated for not having a true #1 goalie. Vegas has the best depth in the league, which compensates for not having a top 10 forward. So for Vancouver, let's not forget that they are one of the most physical teams in the NHL. You can't just ignore this fact.
There's the boss, and he got belted.
Think about it like this. Quinn Hughes this past season had above average defensive stats. He wasn't a top shutdown defenseman in the league, but he was putting up respectable numbers. In the playoffs, he has also been a plus defender, which also includes the fact that Vancouver is playing their backup to the backup, which could have drastically impacted his defensive numbers. Yes, he's not hitting and blocking shots like other defensemen, but he is still holding his own.
Fly in. Kale. Back behind the net, and Quinn Hughes made a nice move there. McDavid turns to get away from Hughes, turns again.
So when you consider how Rutherford and Patrick Allvin made this decor, in my mind, I am not worried. Philip Hronek hits and blocks shots at the same level as Cale Makar. They have 6'8" Tyler Myers playing the best hockey of his career.
Myers moves in, moves. Myers still a banger. He scores!
6'6" Zadorov playing like a top 2 defenseman.
Nikita Zadorov shoots, he scores!
6'5" Carson Soucy playing with aggression, and Stanley Cup winner Ian Cole, who lays big hits and eats pucks. In fact, even with Hughes, they have the biggest blue line in the league. And this right here is not a coincidence. This is compensating for a lack in size from their #1 defenseman. So yes, Quinn Hughes will never be on the same level as a Victor Hedman or Alex Pietrangelo in terms of his physical play, but we can't just ignore the fact that his defense has been a positive, and that the Canucks roster is full of mutants. Dakota Joshua was on pace for 25 goals, 320 hits, which would have placed him top 3 in the league. Niels Hoglander is 5'9" and laying hits like a prime Brad Marchand. Yes, I sound like a huge homer in this video. I get it, roast me, but I think it's an interesting discussion on how roster construction can compensate for weaknesses. Because I think this Vancouver Canucks team has massive potential. Even if it's not this season, if they can keep this roster together and add pieces, this team will be on top of the league for a long time. They are still up in the series with their number 1 center being invisible. In a recent video with Brendan Morrison, he would say something which I think has been heavily influencing this series. Does anything change subconsciously or consciously when you have a guy like Roberto Luongo in the net, or for this season, the Canucks have a guy like Demko? Does anything change in the team's mindset versus maybe having to go to Casey DeSmith for Vancouver?
You would like to think no. But when you take away a goaltender like Dr. Demko, who is an all-star, I think it does change your mindset a little bit. I think you're not as willing to take as many risks, if that makes sense. I mean, you still have a team concept that you're playing within, or a structure. But sometimes when you have a guy back there who's an all-star, on a 50-50 puck, or a puck that you're not quite sure you're going to get, you might take that chance to get that puck, knowing that you have him back there. Whereas if you don't have your all-star goaltender in it, it might change your mindset a bit.
Because the Canucks know they have a backup and a backup to a backup, instead of their number 1 Vezina finalist goalie, it will without a doubt impact their offense. If you know that Demko's not in net, the Canucks are far less likely to take offensive risks, knowing that Demko can bail them out. So much of their energy has been directed to defensive scheming to help Seelovs and DeSmith, which has also been a factor in their low shot totals. So if Vancouver can somehow get back Demko in round 2, they can make a run. If they can't, I'm not sure about that, but regardless, this season will prove to be a massive lesson to this young Canucks team. Today's video is sponsored by Bet99, Canada's premier sportsbook. Made by Canadians, for Canadians. If you click the link down below, you will receive up to $600 of your deposit matched in free bets. And I'm gonna be candid with you guys. I'm at a point in my life where I have a wedding this summer. I'm trying to buy a house in this messed up Canadian market. What's going on? So this partnership is really crucial for me to live out my dream as a full-time YouTuber. So I hope you can respect that, as Bet99 has allowed me to have full control over the ad reads, and I've made it my goal to provide messaging on safe and responsible sports betting practices. Tip 1. Never bet with emotion. Yes, I wanted Vancouver to win Game 5, but I rarely bet on wins. Instead, I try to look for player and team trends. I've noticed a big trend, and I'm sure many of you guys who are Canucks fans have as well, where the Canucks have been prioritizing tip shots, if not just looking for that perfect shot. So instead of betting on a win, even though I wanted Vancouver to win, close out the series, I would bet the under on Saros saves, which it did hit. So download the Bet99 app today. This offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 19 plus to play, and please bet responsibly.